Welcome to the how-to training video for the JCOE Marine Detachment After Action Report, or AAR. This short video will explain the details of how to properly fill out and submit the After Action Report upon course completion. You've just completed a course of instruction, and now it's time to complete your After Action Report. You start by clicking on the link provided in the instruction document. This will ensure that you always have the most up-to-date form. The link will open an Adobe PDF file. You can either fill out the form in its entirety now, or save the file to your desktop or any file folder on your computer. This will allow you to save the data and work on it at your convenience. It's important that you always download a new form for each course completion. The form starts with a request date for the training event. Please enter the date that the training event was originally requested. From there, most of the remaining blocks on page 1 are self-explanatory. Please ensure that you fill in all the applicable blocks. Of note, the training location, state, and country will auto-populate once you select the base and either click on the next block or hit the tab button. Next to the service organization block, you'll find the number of students block. This block is only used if the number of students will exceed the space allotted on the class roster of 52 students. If you do use this field, please do not fill out the class roster. Conversely, if you fill out the class roster, do not fill in this block. All of the drop-down menus can be manually filled in if your desired data is not available. For example, if the base you're training at does not appear in the drop-down, simply type in the correct data. And now, onto the class roster. You have a couple of choices on how to fill this data in. First choice, you can print out a blank class roster form on the first day of training, circulate it around the class, and just have the students manually fill in the roster information. You'll find a copy of the blank roster by selecting the File Attachment paperclip icon in the lower left of your screen. Just select the file and then select Open Attachment. You can now print the blank sheet and distribute it to the class. You'd then transcribe the information into the class roster section of the After Action Report PDF file. Or your second choice is to set up a laptop in the back of the room and have the students fill in the data directly on the PDF form during their breaks. Either way, the data should be entered on the first day of the course and reviewed by the team leader for accuracy. Now, let's go through each section of the class roster. We'll use Staff Sergeant Smith for this demonstration. Last name, first name, the last 4 numbers of the Social Security number. Next is the service the student is a member of. In this case, Marine Corps. The student's rank. We'll select Staff Sergeant, and their NEC, MOS, or designator as applicable to the specific service. Here we'll enter 2336. Next is the EOD level if it applies. We'll select Master EOD Technician. Next is the time in service in year and month format. We'll enter 10 years, 2 months. The next entry specifies the unit that the student is attached to. Ensure that the student provides the full unit designation, being as specific as possible. We'll enter 2nd EOD Company. The last deployed date corresponds to the date the student returned to his or her permanent duty station or mobilization center from the last deployment. Please enter in day, month, year format. We'll enter 11 October 2010. Combat experience refers to the operation or operations the student has deployed in support of. Choices include OIF, OEF, or both, and there's also an other selection. Currently, there's not an option to provide additional information if other is selected. The number of tours entry refers to the total number of operational deployments the student has completed in support of OIF, OEF, or other named operations. The next block is the student type. For those students completing training in preparation for an upcoming deployment, select Deployer. For those students completing training in preparation for duties as an instructor or trainer, you would select Trainer. And the last block is the student's personal email address. Okay, so that's it for the student roster. Ensure that the number of students entered on the student roster corresponds with the actual number that attended the course prior to submitting the after-action report. Next, we'll cover the Lessons Learned page. Here, you'll have room to enter information for 7 separate instructor observations, including an area to provide a discussion and recommendations which address specific observations. Information entered in the observations and recommendation blocks cannot exceed 250 words. The Safety Violation button allows you to report a safety violation if one occurred during the conduct of training. If so, simply select Yes or No and provide amplifying remarks in the explanation block. Again, you're limited to 250 words in that block. And lastly comes the Summary section. This is the portion of the after-action report where team leaders and instructors have the opportunity to enter any additional information relevant to the conduct of the course that is not covered in any of the preceding sections. Once you've proofread your AAR for accuracy, it's time to submit the form to the training officer and a few selected individuals within the detachment. The Submit button is located on page 5, just below the summary block. Once you select Submit, you'll see a download status screen. The time to transmit the completed AAR varies depending on file size. Please be patient, and the form will transmit. You'll receive a thank you screen, indicating that the file has been successfully uploaded. Once the thank you screen is displayed, the AAR submission process is complete, and the training officer will receive the PDF file as an attachment to an email. The training officer is responsible for the final proofreading of the AAR and submission of the data to the JCOE database. As the training officer, you simply need to select the Submit button under the summary block, and the data will be transmitted. It's important to note that the training officer is the only one who should submit the data. All other individuals who receive the file do so for informative purposes only. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, contact Mr. Leon Tackett of R3 Strategic Support Group at 800-418-2040 extension 5 or email leon.tackett@r3ssg.com. Thanks for your patience and participation, and we hope that you found this video to be helpful. Semper Fi.